always use mixed numbers in math, but one thing that I can think of where it applies is cooking. I know for me, you wouldn't want to talk about 5/3 cup of milk. You'd rather do, 1 2/3, right? Just makes sense. 1 2/3 makes more sense than 5/3. So, listen, guys. Shh. Another thing is like if you're in wood shop, 2.5 feet makes a lot more sense than 5/2, right? It just makes more sense, mixed numbers. So that's why I want to spend some time on this because it applies to the real world. I mean, mixed numbers make more sense. Yes. Yeah.
I just did that in wood shop first period.
Yeah, you can actually divide into 32s and 64s if you want to be really precise. That's like what machinists do. Okay, so what do you mean? So let's go ahead and take a look at the first example. We got 7/2. And what I want you guys to do is set up the division problem. So the 2 goes to the left of the fraction bar. In other words,
The smallest number always goes outside of it.
It's in the denominator. No, whatever's in the denominator goes on the outside. That's a good point. If it was 2/7, the 7 would be in the denominator. It would go on the outside of the bar. Okay. The numerator goes on the inside of the bar. And then what you want to do is you want to take a look and see how many times does 2 go into 7 evenly. 3, right? Because once you get to 6, you can't add 3 again. You get to 9. So that answer you put up here. Then you reverse and multiply the 3 times the 2, which gives you the 6. Then you subtract that from 7 and you get 1. Okay? So that's all you have to do prior to writing the mixed number. And here's how it works. The number that you get at the top, the green number, is the whole number of your mixed number, okay? Or the whole quotient. In other words, the even number of times it goes into the top number. Then the remainder that you got becomes the numerator of the fraction. And then the easiest part is whatever your original denominator is, in this case it was 2, it will always be the denominator for your mixed fraction, okay? So if that denominator was 3, then this would be 3. Yes, that's why. Okay.
Wait, is it recording this talking
together? 5/3. Okay, so I'm going to put the 3 here outside of the fraction bar. I'm going to put the 5 here. So step 1 is to simplify the, oh, wow. Actually, that does bring up a good point. If you can simplify the fraction, you need to go ahead and do that, okay? If not, leave it. So what I'm saying is if the fraction was 10/6, you would reduce that to 5/3 before you do the problem, okay? Step 2, then you divide. So how many times does 3 go into 5? 1.
What if you don't simplify the fraction?
You would have to end up simplifying the mixed fraction at the end. So you actually end up doing more work because it ends up being a bigger number. Okay? So 1 times 3 is 3. Subtract, and you get what on the bottom? 2, right? So now let's write the fraction out. Remember, the whole number that you get up here is going to be the whole number for your answer. So step 3 was to determine the remainder. We'll include it in our answer. Okay, so 1 becomes a whole number. The remainder becomes the numerator in the mixed fraction. And can anybody tell me what the denominator will be? It will be the original denominator here, right? Which is 3. There's your answer, 1 2/3. So 5/3 is equal to 1 2/3. For this one, I'm going to do 12/8. Okay, so right off the bat, you should notice something. You need to simplify it. Okay, what would 12/8 reduce to? Yeah, so the biggest number that goes into both is 4. No, not 4/3, I'm sorry, it'd be 3/2. Yes. So 3/2 is going to be the actual fraction we deal with. Okay? It's the same as 12/8. All right, now we're going to divide. How many times does 2 go into 3? Once, right? So we'll put the 1 there. 1 times 2 is 2. Subtract. 3 minus 2 is 1. So we have a 1 on the top and a 1 on the bottom. It doesn't matter. We still set it up the same way. This number is going to be the whole number of the mixed fraction. Okay, the remainder is going to be your numerator, 1 and 1. And the denominator is what? 2. It's the denominator of the fraction once you simplified it. So the answer is 1/2, which makes sense. 3/2 is the same as 1/2. Okay, simple, 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 simple. Next example, we're going to do a little bit bigger one. Okay, we're going to do 88 divided by 13. Okay, so we're going to have to do a little bit more work. This is already simplified. 13 doesn't go into 88, and 13 is a prime, so there's nothing I can do there. How many times does 13 go into 88? Well, one thing that might help us is to keep multiplying 13 until you're right under 88, right? So 13 times 2 is 26, times 4 would be 52, times 5 would be 65, times 6 would be 78, right? And if I did it again, I'd be over 88. So 6 is going to be the number that goes at the top. Okay, so 6 times 3 is what? I just said it. 78, correct. 88 minus 78 equals 10. Okay, so whatever we got at the top is going to be the first part of the mixed number. The next part will be the remainder. That will be the top of the fraction. The bottom will be the original denominator. The answer is 6 and 10 over 13. In other words, 13 goes into 18 6 times and 10 13ths remaining. Let's do one more. I'm going to get you guys to come up with this one. Somebody raise their hand and give me a numerator. Joe, you were first. I like that. And gauge denominator. I like that too. Because we get to simplify this one. So what's the biggest number that goes into both of these? I think it's just 2, right? Okay, so we get 23 over 6. So that's going to be, it's going to be our new fraction. Okay, so we're going to divide now. 6 goes into 23 how many times? Evenly. How many times does 6 go into 23? Evenly. 3. 4 is a good guess. 4 would be 24, so it'd be a little bit too much. That's fine.
That's what I was thinking though. 24, take away 1.
So 3 times 6 is 18. Subtract. We get 5. Okay. So somebody tell me what the final answer would be.
35? Or what? I'm just going to quit talking.
All right, we're going to take the top of the fraction bar. That's going to be the whole number, the mixed number. Okay, what will the numerator be? 5. Good. It's the remainder. And the denominator? Good. It will be the denominator of the simplified fraction. Final answer, 3 and 5 over 6. Any more questions about this?
No.
Are you guys comfortable with mixed numbers? Just follow these steps. If you didn't write them down, you need to get them from somebody. Some of you have nothing written down in your notes. That's not very good.